How is everybody doing today? And in this video, we are going to talk about our first rerun that is going to happen in 3.1. And funny enough, I did think it was going to be HEHOO, so I was ready to talk about HEHOO today and talk about how absolutely amazing her value has been since her release up until now, and how future-proof she is till this day, which is a really good thing to have for a character of that age, realistically, with how old she is. But today, sadly, we're not talking about HEHOO. That's going to be for another video later down the line. Today is going to be about Yunli. Now, Yunli is honestly a super interesting case when it comes to a rerun, especially one as a DPS, because we all know that DPS reruns usually aren't the best thing in the world to roll on, unless you are an emanator like Acheron, or you're Fei Xiao, or you're someone like Herta. These are the only characters that I would assume in the future as a DPS that you would pull on, and maybe even Casteress if she's the emanator of Remembrance in the future as well. So there's a bunch of really crazy things to look at when it comes to a rerun that is a DPS, because usually if it's a support, if it's a debuffer, if it's a sustain, they have a little bit extra value added onto them and extra reasons as to why you would pull for them, because of either niche situations, niche teams, archetypes that you have to fill up in regards to some of your favorite units. So realistically, looking at Yunli, she is a hard character to talk about just because of her nature as a DPS. Right now, sadly, for this MOC, because apparently the one that was here just left fully, this MOC is very unfriendly to her just because she doesn't have weakness to any of the enemies, so it's going to be hard for her to break and get those nasty bleeds off. Not only that, as well, although the enemies do hit quite a bit, she ended up scoring at least a 4 cycle, which I'm not gonna lie, sadly I didn't get it recorded, but I do have gameplay in the back just to show you how Yunli plays. Yunli is a very fun character, without a doubt. If you like a parry style character, a character that rewards you for knowing the enemy's attack patterns, this is the character for you. She's pretty freaking cool, and by far, if I had to say, one of my favorite units in this game, without a doubt, just because of how interesting she is as a character, needing to know when the enemy attacks, needing to know exactly when they're going to do something passive, when they're going to do something offensive, and punishing them for doing something offensive, because she has that taunt, she has that increased damage whenever she does get hit when she has that taunt on. There's a lot of really cool stuff that comes with Yunli, but sadly, right now in the game, she isn't as built as a lot of these archetypes of teams, I guess you could say. Right now, of course, we have characters like Herta with their team, and we're even building up on her team very soon with Tribby from what we know so far. So she's getting a support. She's basically filling out her team. Not only that, we have Fei Xiao with her follow-up tag team, which is, of course, Topaz, Aventurine, and also looking at Robin, someone that, you know, someone like Yunli would want, because Robin is going to help with those extra ticks that she's able to do. Same thing with Acheron being able to be part of it as well with her debuffing squad when it comes to Kafka, Swan, Jiaosho, all of these other guys. When it comes to building up the archetype, same thing goes for the break team as well. You know, for Firefly, Rappa, Boot Hill, all these characters, they all have a specified niche team that they have. They're building up full-on teams to basically power them up as much as humanly possible, while someone like Yunli, if I'm not wrong, her best team consists of someone like Robin, Ting Yun, which is an age-old unit, holy, Ting Yun, Robin, and then HEHOO as well, one of our rerun characters alongside Yunli. So if you don't have HEHOO, it is going to be a little hard to work with Yunli, just because of how energy intensive she is when it comes to her high cost of energy, similar to those of the Remembrance characters, because she can get double ults so that you're able to spam parries back to back with how much energy she's getting back with all the damage that she's doing. And of course, having Ting Yun, HEHOO, and the amount of times you're going to be doing actions with Robin, there's a lot of stuff going around Yunli, and sadly to say, she doesn't seem like she's gonna get any type of support specifically to her. I think the counter type characters are just there to be fun. Realistically, they can do some damage for sure, and I think when the stars align every so often in terms of MOCs, whenever it's physical weak, whenever it is a enemy that can attack a lot, which it seems like that's actually a trend that we're starting to see a little bit more, that now that Yunli is here, we usually had MOCs that were either very passive or very offensive. And the very passive ones were like putting dots on the allies, putting CC on allies, and that would hurt Yunli's performance because you wouldn't be able to do damage to the enemy if they weren't attacking you back. Now that we are in 3.0 and looking at 3.1's MOC as well, I do think realistically that these guys hurt quite a bit and that they do a lot of attacks in quick succession, giving themselves advance forward. A lot of really good things towards Yunli. I noticed that when I was playing her during the showcase for MOC 12, that the enemies hit a lot, and that actually helps out Yunli quite a bit, helping her with energy, helping her with extra damage, helping you getting those parries off a little easier because of how much they do attack. And you don't have to worry about a lot of external factors that are going to hurt Yunli's performance, like them not hitting Yunli, them not attacking, them doing more CC than they are doing regular damaging hits. So although yes, the environment in which Yunli can go ahead and do damage, or where she's going to be fighting against these certain enemies, is getting better for her, sadly there isn't a really good showcase that I can do right now besides a 4-cycle clear with Yunli with my specific team. Not saying I have the best Yunli, there just isn't enough for Yunli to be able to work with. Although yes, this turbulence does get energy, it isn't weak to physical, sadly, so we can't see how she would do in her own best element, I guess you could say. But there's just a lot of stuff that with Yunli, she is still nice, but probably not to the degree that a lot of people would want from a rerun at the current moment, like how you would see someone like Herta, how you would see someone like Fei Xiao, and all these other characters like Aglia as well. There's a lot of really good units coming out right now that you wouldn't pull a DPS from before basically current day. There's just not a lot of situations you would want Yunli for besides a really fun pick. So if you want someone really fun, if you want someone really cool, because I do think Yunli basically passes both of those with how cool she is as a unit with her specific kit, then maybe you can go ahead and get Yunli. Although she takes quite a bit with all the energy she needs with Tingyun, with Ho, with also wanting Robin. But other than that, there's just a lot of other DPSs on the horizon. Same thing with the more powerful ones that are more archetype based, like the Break Team, like Acheron, like Fei Xiao, like Herta. And then we also have Aglia as well as a remembrance character, Castrus as a remembrance character, and even My Day as well with him being destruction. There's just a lot of extra DPSs that are probably going to do so much more damage, so much more output right now in 3.0 that they're probably going to pass over Yunli, sadly. And she's just a really cool unit that's just put in a really bad spot just because of course, units get stronger. As units get stronger, the older DPSs kind of fade out, just like how Jingliu and Blade did. And remember, we do know that they are going to buff certain characters in the future. No idea if they would do Yunli so fast, just because she is still a strong unit. Don't get me wrong, she doesn't need buffs technically. It's just that the environment that she's in, she's not going to perform the best. There's no physical weak MOC right now, and not only that, there's just a lot of catered to when it comes to Herta, Aglia, My Day, Tribi in the future. It's just not going to work towards her way for quite some time. So we'll have to wait and see how it's going to work out for Yunli, but right now she isn't looking the best in terms of value versus a lot of the DPS currently in the game. But other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to Yunli. Really cool character, really bad spot. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all guys in the next one, and peace.